I want to show you the video that the World Health Organization put out 4 days before hosting the Vaccine Safety Summit. Take a look at what, once again, they wanted to tell the world outside of this room. Take a look at this.
Vaccines are very safe. If someone gets sick after vaccination, it is usually either a coincidence, an error in administering the vaccine, or very rarely a problem with the vaccine itself. That's why we have vaccine safety systems. Robust vaccine safety systems allow health workers and experts to react immediately to any problems that may arise. They can examine the problem rigorously and scientifically, look at the data, and then promptly address the problem. WHO works closely with countries to make sure that vaccines can do what they do best: prevent disease without risks. New vaccines against malaria, meningitis, and encephalitis in Asia and Africa are now being thoroughly monitored with support from WHO. Vaccines are one of the safest tools we have to prevent disease and ensure a healthy future for all children.
So this is Dr. Soumya Swaminathan, MD. She is none other than the chief scientist at the World Health Organization, a pediatrician. They brought their #1 person and put her in front of a camera. And so you could ask yourself, are they just not showing her the data? Does she not understand it? Are they lying to her and putting her in front of this camera and she's just clueless? One might think that if you now have seen this entire event that I've just shown you, which obviously goes directly against everything she just said in that video. 4 days earlier, she's putting this video. Maybe she didn't know this conference was happening. Or what if she's at this conference? What would she say 4 days after putting out statements like, we have you have to trust vaccines. It's one of the safest ways we can make you healthy here in India. And that even if there is an issue, you should know we have a robust vaccine safety surveillance program in place. So if there's any issue, we catch it right away and we're able to make the changes so that we can ensure to you that all these new vaccines we're telling you need, that they are perfectly safe, because as she ends it, everything's monitored by the World Health Organization, and vaccines are one of the safest things, best studied products we have for your health. What did she say 4 days later at this event? If you have food in your mouth, swallow it now. Because this is the whole kit and caboodle.
I think we cannot overemphasize the fact that we really don't have very good safety monitoring systems in many countries. That's why we have vaccine safety systems, robust vaccine safety systems, that we really don't have very good safety monitoring systems in many countries, and this adds to the miscommunication and the misapprehensions, because we're not able to give clear-cut answers when people ask questions about the deaths that have occurred due to particular vaccines. To make sure that vaccines can do what they do best: prevent disease without risks. The deaths that have occurred due to particular vaccines. Vaccines are very safe. The deaths that have occurred due to particular vaccines. Vaccines are one of the safest tools we have to prevent disease. The deaths that have occurred due to particular vaccine, and this always gets blown up in the media. One should be able to give a very factual account of what exactly has happened and what the cause of deaths are. But in most cases, there's some obfuscation at that level, and therefore there's less and less trust then in the system. Putting in place the mechanisms, whether they're cohort studies or whether they're sentinel surveillance sites, to be able to monitor what's going on and report back, and then for corrective action to be taken, because unexpected things could arise after introduction, and one always has to be prepared. As we've seen, in the history of many drugs, you've learned about adverse events only after the drug's been licensed and introduced into the population. So I think that risk is always there. To make sure that vaccines can do what they do best: prevent disease without risks. That risk is always there, and the population needs to understand that and feel confident that mechanisms are being put in place to study some of those things.
You know, we have a great legal team, and they say to me, Del, you got to be careful with the word lying. You can't really say people are lying. If you're out there watching, am I allowed to say that this woman is lying? Can we say it? I mean, am I allowed to? She just ended by saying, we know that there's adverse events, that we don't have the tracking system. She starts out by saying, we all have to admit here that we don't have any surveillance systems for safety really in place in most of these countries. And we know that people are going to be injured. And she even says, we have to be honest with the people that there are going to be injuries, that is a part of this process as we go forward. 4 days after she just did a video saying it's the safest thing we do, you should absolutely believe in it and never question it, behind closed doors in a room where she obviously forgot there was cameras, she just said everything that everyone else in that room did. And she repeated it, as you've all said. We don't have the surveillance systems. Our trials are not powered enough to understand the safety problem. We know, just like drugs, that even after these little studies are done, that we're going to have to be able to track them through time. Every single scientist in the room said it, and they're all scratching their heads on how they'd be able to do it. Meanwhile, in New Jersey right now, they are fighting for their lives to be able to opt out of a program where idiots are gathered around saying, well, we don't really know or have any ability to know if they're safe, and there really could be systemic problems. As we all know that chronic illness is at a level we've never seen in this country and around the world. How is it anyone can take away your right to exempt out now? Are they lying? Can I use the word lying? Who? Is the WHO lying to you? Let me go out on a limb here. Yes. The World Health Organization, the leading authority of vaccine programs around the world, sponsored and funded by pharmaceutical industries, the Gates Foundation, the Clinton Foundation, governments around the world, is lying to the world.